Okay, yeah, so let's call this entry number 2 into my exploration of Boris FX Optics and how I can work it into my workflow. And so what I want to start today is talking about something that I've been talking with some of my artist friends about when it comes to leveraging a plugin. Now, for myself, I'm not usually someone to use a plugin in the conventional sense, I guess. That's probably not the right term, but let me explain. A plugin for me, historically, I guess, you come here to filter. Oh, I can't go right there, but you come to filter and they're all down here. You choose whatever it is, and then it opens up like Optics does. What I call a third-party window, right? And you have a whole different interface and you can do things in it. One built into Photoshop, if you will, is Liquify, a whole other interface for lots of technical reasons, right? So you can do more. You have external processing and these plugins can do a lot. Now, NBP, our own panels and plugins, our hallmark is how much can we do on the layers window for workflow flexibility. This stems from not only user feedback and people who say, hey, I want flexibility and I want to move quickly through my workflow, but it also stems from my own personal way of doing things, right? So the first thing I noticed about Optics was that it's super cool. It's so amazing. Second thing I noticed was that it has to open up another window. And I totally understand why. There's no way around it. You have to open up another window. Seems trivial. In other words, it seems like a trivial issue if it is an issue. And for me, it kind of was. I didn't want to stop using Optics or anything else that's going to be awesome in the future that I might discover because of that. But I thought, So I've been playing for a couple of weeks now and trying to come up with an approach for using Optics in a way that makes sense, that keeps me comfortable in the flexibility that I enjoy, because I change a lot of settings, a lot of layer settings, a lot of opacities, a lot when I'm trying to get my final look, right? So let me kind of give you an idea of what I did with this recent set. So when I shot this, the first thing I thought was, hey, it's cool. The window in the background here, that's what you see in the round mirror. There's the window and it's a real bright sunny day. So there you go. Because of that, I thought, hey, some lighting effect could be cool here. I have a little bit. There's obviously some glowing from the window, but it's not really striking. And there could be so much more drama to be had. Naturally, I could just create a glow here and I do that all the time. But I thought, hey, Optics. Playing around back and forth, I came up with this sort of approach. It's probably really obvious to a lot of people who use plugins, especially Optics. But for me, this is what I kind of came up with. Now, here's my finalizing sort of layers. I have my mastering layers, and then I have my Optics result here. Okay, so let me kind of walk you through this. All right, let's turn all these off. This is what I ended up getting out of Optics. Okay, as you can see, it's really cool. All right, so I have kind of some haze. If you look carefully, I'll toggle it on and off. There's like this circle right here, like a light flare. Okay. It's just a bunch of haze. And the reason why I did it like this, because I like the look of it. But in me, even if I made this a smart object, for example, and go back in and change it, that opening up of the third party window slows me down. So what I thought was, hey, if the haze effect is too strong, what can I do? Well, for one, I put a copy of my final edit on top of all my other work. Okay, there it is. And then I have the Optics work here. So obviously, first case, I can do opacity, right? No problem. I can take the Optics and make it all the opacity. Now, in other words, I can tweak the opacity whenever I want. I'm going to open up Optics in a minute. But when I'm doing this effect, this particular effect in Optics has a contrast mastering function. It has a bunch of options. All these things have so many cool options. And you can change the contrast, kind of bring back some of the contrast if you want. Well, in my case, I put a gradient map over it, right, on luminosity blend mode, which kind of rebuilds the contrast. Why did I do that? Because now I can quickly change the opacity of that gradient map to bring back my contrast as needed, back and forth here and not in the third party window. And then I also wanted the glow back here to be more of a glow. So I created a custom one, just some, obviously, well, you can't really see it, but it's just a glow. It's the shape of the glow of the window, excuse me. And then I blurred it and it glows. Now, sometimes I do that also as a smart object. So I can change the Gaussian blur settings and things of that nature. Cool. I also, just because I decided I needed to, I wanted to shift the hue a little bit because I thought it was too yellow. And then I added my own little noise thing. Now, you can add noise in Optic. You can absolutely do it. You can change hue shifting and mastering like that in Optic. You can absolutely do it. And like I already mentioned, the contrast, right? But I get my core effect. That's how I'm trying to think about it. This is my core effect, excuse me. This is my core effect, the light faded. Now this one is a little bit even. Some of the other ones from the set have more obvious orbs and cool effects and flares. This one I like kind of even. But this is my core effect. And then I'm finding, I should say, a way to modify that core effect in ways that I like as I'm working. Because again, I could do everything I did above here, contrast, a little extra flare in one spot, hue and saturation adjustment, and noise. I could do all of that in optics. And there's nothing wrong with any of that if I'm committed to it. But when I'm not committed, I like to have the flexibility. So I can come in here and make it 70% on the effect. All right, that was odd. Sorry, I had another application running and it decided to crap out on me and then sent a bunch of pop-ups and warnings and okay, got rid of it all and we're back. What I was saying was that I'll have my main effect here, and let's say I make it like a 70% opacity. I have a 50% right now on the contrast boosting. I have 50% on my little glow, but I can change it brighter. I can increase the contrast to there. I can increase the effect or even reduce the effect, etc. This so far is working for me because this core effect of all these cool orbs and glows, I can't do that by myself, certainly not easily. And in many cases, what optics can do, I can't do at all. So it's really awesome and I want to leverage it, but I wanted my flexibility. So let's go in here. I'm going to pop into optics real quick with that pre-final edit. And yeah, I tend to do my color grading, probably 99% sure that it's done or 100% sure that it's done before I go to optics. So let's go, no, I don't want to use the previous one. I haven't been doing a whole lot here, but I have a setup called Ashley Hotel, and there it is, right? This is my other aspect that I want to show you real quick that I'm really enjoying. So if I come here, obviously I have, the atmospheric glow is kind of like the hallmark, kind of the party piece of the whole look, right? And you can see it's already different here. One of my favorite things to do is come down here to this random seed. Well, there's a lot of options, I know. But on the orbs, random seed, literally moving one at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, they all basically look good, right? It's just a matter of how intense you want or don't want, right? I also have a slight mask on it. As you can see right here, this mask, it keeps it from going to the bottom of the frame. I didn't want some of those in the bottom of the frame. But let's say this is the look actually I used, okay? The random seed literally just kind of keeps shaking it around. Now, why is that cool? Apart from the fact that you can find whatever you want to find until you like it, it's cool. Let's go ahead and no, don't save the image. Okay, cool. We'll turn all these back on. Why is that cool? Well, the reason why it's cool is that when you have another image of the exact same set like this one, okay, you can go back into the same setup in optics, and then hit the random seed a little bit. At the very least, you spent a lot of time getting everything else set up. Sometimes just that random seed is all I've been needing. I change it up a little bit because you don't want the exact same light effects, these synthetic lighting effects. You don't want them the exact same over a set because it's going to be obvious that, that's something that your brain will recognize. Everything is the same, right? You don't want that. So we have like this pink orb over here and some other discoloration down here from optics, which looks great. And all I have to do is just finish this edit exactly like I did the other one, because I like my consistency in edits. Open up optics, load up the setup that I was committed to and I really liked, and then change some small things, starting, for example, with the seed. Now, I am just literally talking about one function of one function. This is endless, and I'm sure this exploration is going to take me well into next year. So I just want to show you that's kind of what I've been doing. I like to keep myself flexible. You'll notice on the other shot, I do the same thing. I have my contrast boosting. I have my window glow, my sun glow, I should say, my hue fixer and noise as well. So I can tweak back and forth until I feel they all match. That's how I work. And so far, that's what I'm doing. I am not trying to say that the external window popping up of a plugin is a problem. It's not a problem. It's just the way I've been working for years. I like that flexibility on the layers window, especially when I have multiple shots open next to each other and I'm tweaking back and forth. This one needs more effect. This one needs less effect, and I go back and forth and I like that. So that's how I've been kind of, for lack of a better term, like stem splitting the effect in my own way. And as I move on, who knows what else I'll discover. But right now, when it comes to adding atmosphere with light, that is where I am really, really loving optics. Every time I think about a special effect, as it were, even if it's obvious, I don't want anything to look like it's a special effect. I want it to be blended in nice. And in that regard, optics is a kid in the candy store. So that's why I'm really, really loving it. And that's why I'm also talking about it again, because it's been so fun. All right, I'll wrap that up. I will continue this exploration and we'll see what optics log number 3 will end up as I go forward.